Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom, to unleash your passion and excitement for all Chiefs content. With the up-and-coming sports media company giving you all of the Chiefs coverage. We are raising the decibels and embracing the community of Chiefs Kingdom. Elevate your fandom and join our team who loves your team. Red Kingdom Media. Welcome to this edition of the Red Kingdom After Hours for the date of October 15th, 2023, a Sunday night just prior to the Sunday night kickoff. Your Kansas City Chiefs already played a game this week on Thursday, and now we've gotten to sit and digest the game for a little bit. We had a very lengthy post-game show, so if anybody's can get a chance to listen to that, feel free to hit up one of those links wherever you like to watch and listen to that set. But yeah, so we've had a few days to digest that game for what it was. Lonnie, what are your big impressions after that game?
Yeah, so I of course the defense, like we said, we played at the top 5 level. I think that was a game where we kind of separated ourselves. We showed that we can win a lot of games on defense, and this defense has arrived and they're here to play. And I feel like the offense is still trying to figure some things out and get it together. I feel like you said, we were just talking kind of before we got on here. I feel like the league is caught up with the passing now. It's no longer you can pass it 50 times in the game and you're just going to score 50. I feel like sometimes guys are now covering a lot better just because we have a lot of those kids that play 7-on-7 in the tights are now getting drafted. Those are the younger kids going into the league now. So it's starting to not be as much as your offense is going to show up and your quarterback is going to definitely go for 400. You never know. We have at least 2-3 corners that can cover now. I feel like that has arrived into the league. We have better cover corners, and people are passing the ball a ton now. So I just feel like it's only going to be harder from here. But the Chiefs look good. They definitely look good. Look good for a Thursday night game, a quick turnaround. We hoping that they look better against the Chargers. And we can free up Kelsey because we know they're going to bring Derwin James down to guard him. So I liked how he looked coming out of that game.
Dale, your thoughts?
All right, we're talking about the Thursday night football game?
Yep. Just how do you feel 3 days removed from?
Honestly, feeling 3 days afterwards and seeing a lot of people go down today as well too. I'm not as worried. Honestly, like Lonnie alluded to earlier, it seems like a lot of the defenses are catching up to all of the offenses in the league. So it's just not only affecting the Kansas City Chiefs, but everybody else. But at the same time, I think the mistakes that we have going on is minor. I think they can be fixed. And I think eventually, especially, I don't never wish injury on anyone, but with Justin Watson going out as well, too, I think it's going to force Mahomes to actually have to rely on other guys as well, too. Although we saw in the last game against Denver Broncos, he was definitely heavily targeted still, regardless of who was out there. But now, since you don't have that other reliable option that you know that you can go after all the time, when you need that big play down the field, it's going to open up for other players as well too. And something I was just talking about, it's just time for Mahomes to not care. Hey, help is not on the way, bro. It's okay. You're going to have to work with what you have, and it's perfectly fine. I think even with the trade deadline coming up, it's still going to be some guys who I think I cut off a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but with the trade deadline coming up and everything, I don't think we're going to be going after like a Mike Evans or Ayuk or anyone like that. I think we're going to have to really work with what we have. So I think it's going to be a good chance for Rashee Rice, Justin Ross to get more reps, and also Sky Moore, who we expected to actually come out and have a better season this year. It's time for those guys to step up and make plays. So when you get the ball thrown your way, catch it. That way Mahomes can be like, okay, I can throw to you. Just catch the ball. And then also Mahomes, when you see them, throw the ball. Just throw the ball. If they drop it, so be it. Don't worry about your efficiency or anything like that. That's something me and Lonnie talked about with Shedeur in Colorado. What we feel when he take too many sacks, bro, Just throw it to your weapons. Work with what you have. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to get better if you're not going to if you're not going to feed them at all. And then you're going to have the same complaints that you have going into the postseason as well, too. But other than that, I think we're fine. I'm okay with us being 5-1. Really not too much to talk about. Of course, offense hasn't been great. But like I said, I think they'll figure it out at the end of the day. So.
All right. I think my just kind of overall thoughts, and I think I saw a lot of it more so on Friday. Feeling maybe kind of died down since today has happened and got to see some outcomes. But a lot of people were like, man, it feels like a loss waking up on Friday just because you expected more, especially from the offense. And the defense played perfect except for like 4 minutes of total game, enough to give up 1 point. I was rooting for that goose egg, but just wasn't meant to be in that regard. Why we utilize the receivers the way we do. Seeing how much of that blame is ultimately on Patrick Mahomes and his ability to throw it to a weapon not named Travis Kelce, and whether the point shows people are open or not open, whether he's willing to deliver that ball. And it seems like he's been kind of either, not willing to pull the trigger or in some bad cases, just overcommitted to pulling the trigger, like trying to force it. So I'm happy they won. It didn't feel like one. The defense is playing lights out, and you can see the rest of the league. The offenses haven't been as good. Our players making mistakes, someone getting injured or coming back from injury.
Well,
it's got me concerned about, playing a team like Miami or the 49ers if they can be full strength for that game. Since I feel like no matter how well the defense plays, the offense is gonna have to keep up. And right now, it's giving everybody a little bit of pause whether they can meet the challenge of going toe to toe, a shootout with, if you will, with whoever team. We've tried to call shootouts occurring, and they've never happened. They end up being slugfest time. So,
but my question to you, Quinn, is you see today that the Eagles played the Jets, and that's a high power offense, correct?
I guess you could say high powered. But
I'm saying that's a high power offense. They're top of the league. So with that being said, then them only mustering up 20 points, and the Chiefs going in there, and if I'm not mistaken, what did we win that game? 24-21 by 3, or
against who?
The Jets?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
was it 20? Okay.
Yeah, 24-21. So it's like, is it the offense? Is the offenses are really that bad? Or is it that these defenses are just really that good? Are they really catching up? Because that's an offense that has established wide receivers, at three established wide receivers, and also has a tight end that is well established as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just sometimes I feel like the league is just caught up. Like they said today, we got parity in the league, and it's unfortunate. If your defense is good and you got 3 or 4 guys that can cover, you're probably going to cover for more than 5 seconds. You get that quarterback to run around for a minute, he's going to make a stupid decision and throw the ball to your offense, throw the ball to your defense, or it's going to get deflected, tipped, and it's going to be like the game is just catching up.
Sure, but I guess I can cite the Seahawks-Bengals game today as a example of your defense can play is amazing, but if your quarterback can't get you into the end zone when the ball needs to go in the end zone to win, it doesn't matter how well your defense plays. You can go scoreless and still lose 3-0. So that's the NFL. We saw it. The Chiefs defense on Thursday played amazing. And then for 3 minutes, they allowed Russell Wilson to march down the field and finally get in the end zone and score, and then a 2-pointer. So that whole game, it was like they're not giving up any points, and then they still did. So you can't expect anything to hold for too long. And the expectation was that this offense would be like circus level, and we're just kind of lagging behind everybody's expectations, and maybe some people's over expectation of the weapons that we have, and just the adjustments that have been made based on that personnel, and whether or not we're utilizing everybody to their fullest potential.
But I would say, you can go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, because I was actually going to bring up and say that I saw a couple comments as well that made sense. I mean, we're talking about the Chiefs not really scoring over 30 points. Well, it was a couple times that we saw where Patrick Mahomes, if he wanted to, they could have scored a touchdown. Just focus on winning the game. And then also the one with Isaiah Pacheco as well too, to where they could have scored as well. It wasn't going to be like the end of the world, but we could have scored 30 points. At the end of the day, when you have a tough game like that and you're going to get opposing defenses, you're not, and then knowing what's going on right now, they're just trying to play to win the game. So like I can respect that in a sense, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, we just saw earlier, like you said, in the Bengals and Seahawks game, Geno Smith got down the field, but he couldn't get in the end zone.
Yep.
Geno was he was comeback player of the year.
We saw a play in the Chiefs game, 4th and long 2. They take the offense off and decide to QB sneak using the punter on a field goal play. Yep. So, Lonnie, I'll let you take over in a second, but I just wanted to mention that, like, as a few days transpired, my brain has thought about it differently, and I wonder if Andy Reid knew he was winning that game no matter what, and that's why he decided to break out a lot of those weird plays, because he's like, hey, man, we are winning no matter what, so we're not going to use our traditional plays, and maybe we want the Chargers to have to look into these random trick plays that we've done. Do we ever plan on running them again? Probably not, but we want to make the Chargers waste 30 minutes, an hour of their time in the film room looking at those plays, saying you guys have to actually watch out for this.
Exactly.
So
I think that may be his thought process, but at the same time, I feel like we just have to be patient as Chiefs fans. This is just going to be different. I know we are not used to this. We have never seen the Chiefs win a Super Bowl like the Patriots did a couple years ago against the Rams. But that might be the type of year that it is, unfortunately. And we don't think that it'll be like, hopefully it's not like 10-3, but hopefully it's better than that. But it's like, it may be that type of year. So you have to be okay and be prepared for that. Defenses have arrived. If the Chiefs defense is getting the shutout through 3 or 4 quarters, and this is a defense that got ran all over for the past 2 or 3 years, that just shows that defenses have caught up, and they're here, and they're here to stay. The Jets defense put them in a position today to win the game, almost getting a pick 6 off of Jalen Hurts on the 3rd down. So it may be that defenses just have arrived. That's just what it is. And if your quarterback doesn't bring his A game on a daily basis, then you might lose. And Mahomes hasn't brung his A game, but fortunately, he's been on the good side of wins and able to get those wins still. So, with that being said, we have to just have a different outlook on the season. We know he will come around, and until like we can get deep into the season, almost done, and he hasn't, and he's still playing the same way. That's when we can say, I think, okay, let's just get rid of this. He's not going to ever show up, but I don't think we'll ever do that to him, being that he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. 2-time MVP. We know what this guy's capable of. Even if he doesn't show up all year, we know he's going to show up in the biggest of games. So we got to just have a little bit more faith. I feel like we're being a little bit pessimistic when we start picking at that offense like that, and just be patient. We're going to win games differently. Like I said, it may be interceptions and getting the ball, turn it over, getting field goals to win you a game. The Jets scored 3 field goals. It was 12-14. And that's just, you may win games like that now. It may not be a million touchdowns. So,
but I mean, I think it's fair to still, critique them on what they're doing wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand that we're used to what the offense is capable of doing with Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time, it's little things that they are having trouble with. And that's the things that we have to go back into practice and work on and really make sure that we clean up. But at the same time, it's just if this is an offense that schemes up other things, and other route trees for the other receivers as well too. Well, let's play it to the screen. Let's play it to the scheme. Let's not make the scheme solely based on Travis Kelce. Let's make sure that everyone else is involved as well too. So I mean, I just wanted to add on to that just because I don't want to take away the criticism that people are giving them because it's fair criticism. I mean, when you have a set expectation that you set coming into the season and what you was able to do and what you did in prior years, I understand this is year 7 for Patrick Mahomes, and it's honestly one of the worst years that he has had. However, they compare the yardage from the offense from the first 6 games is literally identically the same. And then last year we was at like 171 points. Now we're at 147 points. The game just slowed down a little bit for us. We're still getting the yardage, but people are making sure that we're staying outside of the end zone. And that's something that, we got to get better at when we actually get down in the red zone. We got to just make sure that we get into the end zone. So I'm sure Andy Reid is looking over that right now. Matt Nagy as well too. But one thing that I'm going to get on about Matt Nagy is, hey, bro, one thing that EB did when he was here, when the passing game wasn't there and was stalling out, it's time to run. I don't care if he was a running back coach or not. Feed Pacheco, feed McKinnon. I know I've been bashing Clyde. Get him in there too. For real. We don't got time for that, bro. We got to be balanced. I understand that we want to throw 40 plus times. And
are we still on this trying to say that any offensive coordinator has any say in what play is placed on the field and ran? Are we still having a conversation like a coordinator has any? He doesn't. This is Andy Reid's call.
Andy Reid. No, it's been times Andy Reid has said that they call
in garbage, in pointless games. He knows he's getting a preseason. If Andy Reid thinks it's a close game in any way, it's his call. And guess what Andy Reid chooses in any close call? Probably a passing play. Or maybe one of these weird trick plays or something other than hand it to Pacheco and watch him feast. But beside the point, I think this coming Sunday is going to be one of the bigger tests for me. I thought this Thursday night was going to be a beatdown, and we'd get to see the offense feel themselves, and the defense would have a full game, and, we'd be completely confident against the Chargers. At this point, I don't know if the Chargers are going to be held to 11 points or if they're going to score 31.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have Justin Herbert. You have a franchise quarterback. I'm not going to discount you. If you can get out of the pocket or survive the hit and make the throw, you can be in the game. It doesn't matter how great your defense is. We'll see that all throughout the league, and we see it from the other side with Mahomes doing it to the other team. So the Chargers for me are going to be the first real test of a defense that can be okay and a Chargers offense that can get points when their quarterback lets them do it. So that's going to be a big test for me. And if the offense continues to struggle against like the Chargers, for instance, if they can't keep up, then a few weeks later in Germany, I'm going to be really worried because I'm thinking the Dolphins might be one of the top teams in the league so far. And I know they're breaking some early season offensive records. And their defense is not too shabby themselves, and they're getting Jalen Ramsey back here in the next couple of weeks, probably prior to this game. They get a break to not have their really fast running back. But, the Chiefs are about to play some harder teams pretty soon, and then towards the ending stretch of the season, of course, you have to play Buffalo and Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. Luckily, all three of those come at home, but Mahomes is going to be in some QB battles again. And, we don't have any doubts because it's Mahomes, but I have some doubts whether the rest of the team and his weapons can complete that game since it didn't happen in week 1. And we've seen several components of the offense melt down at any time throughout the games.
But I would say we also seen flashes of the offense be its regular self as well too, hitting on some of those plays to Justin Watson and just different things like that. So I don't want to just be so quick to say that everything is we're doomed for 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 the next couple games because we don't know what we're going to do on offense. We've seen glimpses of a lot of different things. I just think they got to put it together, figure out who they're going to go to, get them some go-to guys. But they have hit on some plays and they have looked like their regular selves for moments in time. It just hasn't been consistent. So I feel like we have to just pump the brakes on them. But if I understand too, we also win a lot, and like I feel like the expectation is really, really high for these guys, right? Because we see this offense play at a championship level year in and year out. So when you're not playing at that championship level, the fans are going to know what that looks like immediately, and they're going to call you out for it, and they're going to expect that you get back to that level quick, fast, and in a hurry. But I just say ask the fans to be patient, just like we were with our defense. Our defense was never good. This is a surprise to all of us. We never thought our defense would be even holding guys to what we are right now. Like we never thought this would be happening, but unfortunately we're here. And I feel like we just have to wait. We may have to wait until our offense is able to get to that same level before we're able to just like say we don't have it anymore. We can't do it. We just need to give it a minute. We can't just call to burn the house down. But like you said, I understand it is okay to criticize guys though, right? And still be able to give constructive criticism. But I feel like sometimes our criticism is just kind of super duper heavy, especially when it comes to the offense. You just sometimes take a step back and trust that the Super Bowl MVP, two-time MVP, is going to figure some stuff out and get it together, or figure out a way to win you a game, which he did in Gillette. I mean, not Gillette, I'm sorry, MetLife, when we went up there to play the Jets. So just trust him. I feel like we trusted him. He's won us some games. Fortunately, our defense has also won us some games, which they're supposed to do. They're professionals as well. So I feel like we just got to stand back, laissez-faire, hands off, and really just trust the situation right now.
Dale, what do you think of the teams around the league, and let's say even past the Chiefs specific schedule, looking at teams that they don't even play this season but would have to see in the playoffs, like the Ravens or the Jags or the Colts, or not the Colts, the Texans, if CJ Stroud can make them can will that team into the playoffs, or the Browns if Watson comes back and leads them to be just an average football team enough to get them in.
I'm not going to lie to y'all. I am not worried about them at all. I am worried about the same teams we've been worried about before, including the Miami Dolphins now. That's pretty much it. Bengals, Bills, and the Dolphins. Those are the teams who have, high-powered offenses when they do. And that's something that worries me because we haven't really seen that type of offense now with the defense, even though they're playing at a top 10 level. It's just what will happen when we get to that game. That's why I'm excited to see that in the regular season. Guys like the Ravens, we are 3-1 against Lamar. We have his number. I think if we are able to contain him, it looks like he's having problems with his receivers again. I mean, Odell and Zay Flowers are looking good, but they still have drop issues then and there, but they're not putting up as many points. I think if we can keep them at bay, we'll be fine. Who else? The Houston Texans. I like what they're doing. Youthful. CJ Stroud is definitely looking good. He's looking solid. I understand that many may say he's looking better than Bryce Young, and he should have been the first round pick, but I think he was in a better situation as well, too. DeMeco Ryans, he's a dog. He was over there with the 49ers. So when playing him, you're kind of worried about that defense. Like, okay, you run that same style that you had over with the 49ers. I think that's going to work over there as well, too. It's like, okay, you might keep Mahomes at bay at times, but I don't think CJ Stroud will put up more points than Mahomes, so I'm not as worried. And then the Browns, they're average. They are average. Great defense. Phenomenal. Flash Garrett, Myles Garrett, he's a dog. You saw what he did today to Trent Williams, who's a bully. You got woke up, buddy.
Jags?
He's coming. So Donovan Smith, if he's on your side, it's going to be a long game for sure. But Deshaun Watson is looking so mediocre, bro. You should have worked out whatever you had to work out with Houston. Maybe you should have chilled on the massages, bro, and not missed a year or two. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not looking good at all. So I'm not even worried about y'all. I'm like I said, Bengals, Bills, Dolphins. They can put up points. They can compete offensively. And we know when the postseason comes, it's about getting into the end zone. So, but even with them, we still the reigning champs. We've been here. 5 straight AFC championship games hosted in Arrowhead Stadium. Y'all got to prove me wrong before it happened. That's all I'm going to say. You got to prove me wrong. Show me something different. Until that happens, I'm going to keep on believing. We'll get it together. It's fine. But I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't see those teams, even if the games were, because I feel like we fear them because of the games last year and who we know them to be. But even if I don't think those are 30-30 games anymore, I don't think those are almost 50-point games anymore. Those are going to be close games. So I really don't fear those games. We just got to see if our offense shows up, and I really don't have a doubt that our offense is not going to show up eventually in those games. They usually play to the level of their competition. They know when they have to step it up and play at a high level. So I trust that to be so. So I have no questions or even fear in those games because our defense is really here. And I think they're ready to play. Like you said, it's going to be a big test against the Chargers because we haven't really played any high-powered offenses until we played these guys. But I really want to see this against the Chargers.
Okay, so let me put y'all on the spot then. So they play Miami, of course. Miami has arguably the number one offense and arguably a record-breaking offense, but as good of offense as there's ever been. What does the Chiefs defense have to hold the Dolphins offense to for you to think that they did the defense did well in your opinion?
I'll say 21.
You go first.
I'll say 21 or 28. I'll give him 28. Because, I mean, that's a lot of speed on the field. We haven't played any speed like that at all. So I know we're going to get got at least once. Hopefully we can have Snead. Like I said, seeing that game matched up by Spags is going to be a masterpiece. We don't know who's going to guard who, how he's going to do it, if he's going to zone it up, what he's going to do. I figured he would put Snead on Tyreek, but we don't know how that's going to go. So I just want to see how it's matched up and just see how the secondary is playing. We got Keenan Allen and Guyton and all of those fast guys coming in this week. So let's see what we can do against these guys, and then I'll go from there. But I like our chances against those guys, even in McDuffie in the slot, Garden Waddle. He's a littler guy, more speed guy. So only questions I really have is just Jalen Watson and Jay Williams, because that speed can really get to those bigger guys.
All right. So I'll just say that the lowest point total the Dolphins have had all year was against the against the Bills, when the Bills got almost 50 points and the Dolphins only got to 20. So even in their worst offensive outing, they still get at least 20 points. There's been several games this season alone where 20 points could beat the Chiefs offense. Just for reference, Harrison Butker beat the Denver Broncos on Thursday. The Broncos offense actually beat the Chiefs offense 8-7. So thank goodness for Mr. Harry.
Honestly, can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. So honestly, I think keeping them under 24, that would be the goal. Just because we know what they can do and how easy they can pop at any moment. But the goal is, I think we gotta keep them at bay for most of the game, majority of the game, definitely going into the fourth quarter. If we can keep them at least like at 17 around that time, I make them have to actually have to make a game changing drive towards the end of the fourth quarter or so, where our defense has been, phenomenal and able to make plays. I think that's where we have the advantage. So I think we just got to keep them at bay for most of the game. We know that they can pop at any time. they don't just have Tyreek Hill. They got guys like Jalen Waddle. They got Berrios. They got Mostert. They got I don't know how to say his name. Akane, whatever his name is. The dude who had like that phenomenal game against the
he's
Broncos.
supposed to
Yeah,
be injured.
He got put on IR though. Yeah.
IR.
Yeah, he's
So
missing.
he won't be back until after he play us. So okay, but still, Mostert, I think they'd be getting Jeff Wilson back as well too. So they just got a lot of different weapons, and then they added Chase Claypool as well. But the thing is, how many of those guys are going to be targeted throughout that game? I mean, you can't feed everybody, right? So it just depends on how they play against them. I think with us, you know, having that relationship with Tyreek Hill, him starting his career off here, we know his strengths and his weaknesses. We know what made us stay at bay when we played opposing teams that played us. So, you know, we're going to bracket him. We're not going to let you get behind us. But at the same time, I feel like we've been great at zone coverage as well, too, really playing those gaps and really not letting too much get behind us as well. We have linebackers that's flying to the ball as well, too. So you coming across the middle, Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, they sticking you immediately. They're not playing.
Mhm.
Chris Jones, come on, try to do that crackback you said that you was gonna do on Twitter. You gonna get hurt. So I want you to try it, but I think it's gonna be a fun game. I can't wait till it come up though. But I think, like I said, we keep them at bay. It's gonna be a 7:30 game here when I watch it, 8:30 y'all time as well too. So it's gonna be an early one, but I think they'll be able to hold up at least, and I think that will be the first sign of like, okay, we do have a great defense here in Kansas City. Because if we're able to do that with them, we'll be fine.
Yep, I agree. And this next week against the Chargers, which unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about the games today and what those amount to, but we got the Chargers coming up, which they can be up and down, whether they got a good offense or defense that day or that drive, for instance, that they can put it together or they can collapse at any given time. That's what the Chargers are good at. Chiefs get the advantage that the Chargers have yet to play their Week 6 game as they host the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow from Monday Night Football. So the Chiefs got a nice 10-day break before they have to kick off for their game, and the Chargers have to come 6 days and then go on the road. So get the advantage there. And Andy Reid loves having these extra few days to prepare. I almost wanted to have somebody ask him in one of these, in my mind, they're double weeks. If you're playing on a Sunday and then you're playing 4 days later on a Thursday, that's the same week. But I know, Monday counts the next week. But in my mind, you prepare to play one game and then 3 days later you're prepared to play a completely different game. So my mind thought, at what point did they start doing, like Broncos study, for instance? Like, did they do any Broncos study prior to Minnesota? Or did they just flat out have to wait till Minnesota game was over and then got this short preparation? You wouldn't think that. You'd think that maybe Andy Reid does something special where the division opponents get like super extra, study happen during the summer or something like that.
Yeah, so he does it in camp. They said that they prepare for their division opponents in camp. It's a certain period during camp that they prepare for their division opponents. It's just special prepare for their division opponents. They also said they prepare for them on the plane on the way back from Minnesota is when they began preparing for the Broncos.
Gotcha.
They digested that win and got on the plane. I think it was the secondary guy, McDuffie or Nick Bolton. One of those guys said that on the podium, or I think it was Chris Jones actually. But yeah, they prepared for Minnesota on the plane. On the plane on the way back. They prepared for the Broncos. This is a team that I don't have any questions about the preparation. They have a head coach that is like very, very well seasoned. This guy does this stuff in his sleep. To think that they're not going to be prepared or ready to go is just like kind of just far fetched, but that can possibly happen. It always could be a thing, but I feel like they'll be prepared. They'll be ready to go.
Right.
They're always preparing. I know they have plots and different type of notes on these guys just because they're division opponents. Even we know the division opponents, Keenan Allen, like I said, Jalen Guyton. They got the quarterback, Mike Williams over there that plays number 43. So we got some guys over there that we already know Derwin James. We know certain guys ourselves, so I'm pretty sure they're keeping tabs on guys as well.
Okay, so last thought just about Thursday night, and I guess Thursday night games in general is, do you account any of the miscues or the offensive failures from Thursday night on account of it being a Thursday night game, or do you think that was more just so the offense doing what we've expected them to do, just on more of the lower end of production versus maybe some of the higher points that we've gotten to see just flashes of in a few games?
I feel like it was a mix of the offense being kind of who we saw them to be, who we thought they were, but at the same time, I feel like it's part of it is the division opponent just being prepared for what you're throwing at them in the red zone. This is a team you beat 12 times. So if you're not mad about it,
it's 16.
16.
I'm sorry, 16 times.
16 straight. Let's get
16
that right.
times. So it's like if you're not prepared, or if you give up 30 points in this game, Sean Payton, this is going to be a super duper bad look. So they can drive up and down that field, but you let them score 30 points on you, it'll be a problem. Because it's already a problem that you got to fire sale, you got to release people. You're trying to renegotiate guys' contracts and different things like that. So it's already bad over there. So this better. I feel like it's a lot of it is just pressure. And they figured they knew what they had to do. And they were prepared. This is, like I said, it's a division opponent. You're preparing during the offseason for these guys. And you can have a bend but don't break mentality, and that's probably just what they
play them 2 weeks from now too. And you mentioned a fire sale, and we're going to talk about one of their releases that they've already made here in a bit. But if they have more releases, why would they want to do that going against the Chiefs when literally their only freaking goal in life now is to end this year-long streak against the Chiefs, just so they can have just a little bit of pride before they hopefully get to pick Caleb Williams or Drake May or somebody else at the top of the NFL draft. So why would they want to do that if this is like the one game a year they'd actually want to try to pull out all the stops to win?
Honestly, I think so, because by the time we play them, because next week is week 7 against the Chargers and then week 8 against the Broncos, right? I mean, they do have that next day, that Monday on October 31st, right, before the trade deadline hit. But maybe they want to start the process now of getting rid of those guys, get some compensation back, just because pretty much it seems like your season is going to be over with. You're last in the division right now. You're possibly not going to get past the Chargers, who's usually number 2 in the division after the Chiefs. So honestly, I don't see anything that benefits them. And I think Sean Payton wants to start the process of working on getting the guys that he want to get over here as well too. When coming into that position, he had to work with some of the guys that was already presented to them, just because they had contract.
Oh, yeah, you went dead. I mean, honestly, I don't think Sean Payton's shown enough to even warrant continuing his 5-year contract. I mean, I've seen him get out-coached by other coaches and make some against on Thursday night, for instance, taking a timeout when you're on 4th down, when you're helping the Chiefs. He's washed to me. At least it's already looked like, or the people he's got underneath him actually making decisions aren't. I don't know, dude. Their defense was amazing last year, and they've changed like nothing about it, and now they're bottom of the defense. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like the defense is actually pretty good. It's kind of it's not pretty good, but I feel like it's good enough against those opponents to where we've seen it before. It's down in there somewhere. But like you said, I feel like it's definitely gonna be a fire sale. These guys are just not. I don't think they're good enough to compete. Russell Wilson is really the scary question mark there, because this is a guy that you paid. So that's a super duper scary situation now, because it's not just like, oh, we let you walk, or we can just go trade that contract, and someone's going to take it on with you playing like this. So I feel like the Broncos are in a very interesting situation over there. I would hate to be in that situation.
Hold on, y'all not gonna do this to me right now. Nobody, nah. I just had to look at the picture. No, I'm sorry, Lonnie. I'm sorry. Tony though, that's what I look like, y'all. Let's go there right now. Tony Gwynns. That's hilarious. I'm sorry, I had to say that.
I mean,
Lonnie, go look at the picture. It just made me mad.
I mean, if you like mix the old version of him now with the younger face, yeah.
I looked at it, I immediately got. I was like, dang, yeah. Y'all got me on that one, bro. Y'all got me.
Okay, well, you DC'd and we didn't get to hear your beautiful rant. So basically, I said Sean Payton stinks and he shouldn't even be retained because he sucks. But people can have their opinion. Rant about that, and then I know you're holding back and you want to talk about a certain familiar.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully making a return. So the floor is yours. Let's see if your internet can handle this heat that you're about to drop.
It's been a rough night for me, Red Kingdom people, my people. It's been a rough night. But man, Sean Payton, I think I don't think Denver need to give up on him that quick. I mean, this is someone who made what they can work in New Orleans during that time, especially during the Drew Brees era as well too. And he hasn't had that many losing seasons as well. So I don't think you just give up on him like that. When I was talking about it, I think he's just someone who he always had strong defenses and always had, pretty much great defenses. So I think right now this fire sale that's going on is just like, okay, let's start getting compensation back. Let's start getting some things back that we can work on as well too. Let's see if we can find some players that we can bring in mid-season as well that can be ready for next season that's coming up. So I think he's going to start getting his type of style of players to include on both offense and defense. That's where he can work with it. Quarterback wise, the reason why Russell Wilson is perfect from him because you worked with Drew Brees. They're short. They're 5'10". They're not that huge. So, I mean, you should already have a game plan set up for him anyway. And honestly, I said this before when y'all watched my Extra Point series. Russell Wilson haven't just been horrible. I mean, offensively, they were putting up points. It's just historically they had a bad defense this year that we're not used to seeing from them. The only upside that they got is honestly Patrick Surtain, who is a cornerback. And then they're opting to, trade one of the best safeties as well, too, Justin Simmons, who gets a pick on Patrick Mahomes every game. So, I mean, I think they got some stuff that they can work with, but they need to go ahead and get this fire sale going. They just need to go ahead and see what they can get, see if they can get some first-round picks, see if they can trade guys that can, bring some hefty compensation back to them, something that he can work with next offseason when it comes to the draft and free agency as well. They need that money. They need that money.
And I'm saying – and I just want to say this: no one's taking Russ. I just seen the comment. How do you trade it for? How do you get rid of you? He's not getting out of Denver. Who's trading for Russ right now? Nobody's trading for Russ right now.
No,
sorry,
no, they're not.
I'm not saying that he needs to be traded. I'm saying they can afford to take his salary for 1 year and pay to have it split up in a 2-year period after that in dead money. And just say, hey, Drake May, you're a quarterback for the next 5 years. And hopefully after that, after your rookie contract. Russell, see you later.
So you saying just cutting? You saying just cutting?
Yes, I would release. Release. Well, they would take that dead money.
I'm about to say no, because nobody's trading for him.
Yes, I'm aware. Yeah. And I'm saying they don't even care. Okay. They would rather pay to have him not on their team than to have him continue to be their quarterback. That's my hot take, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. And you can go get Drake May, and Drake May can play it. You never know.
But
I think they take their chances on a younger guy like that than before they take their chances on Russell Wilson. That's all I was just saying. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dale, but I just wanted to make sure.
I was asking, like, are they 1-5, right?
Correct. They play the Packers next Sunday.
Okay. Do we have a team that's not winning at all? Like a 0?
Yes. The Panthers have yet to win a game.
Oh, if they the number 2, they can try to go for Caleb.
And the Bears only have one singular game, and that was beating the Broncos. They've yet to win another game, and Justin Fields is he injured himself at the
So
end
the
of the
Bears
game.
beat the Broncos, right? Like
Correct.
you said, so if the Bears beat the Broncos, that means the Broncos will have that number 2 behind the Panthers, who is not going to go after a quarterback because they got Bryce Young last year, and they feel like they just need to put more weapons around him, right? So if anything, they'll probably be going for another wide receiver like a Marvin Harrison Jr. if he continues to ball out. So if I am Denver, I mean, of course, the plan is not to tank, right? But at the same time, if you don't win any more games, the Bears is the other team that's a one-win team as well, too, and they already beat you. Caleb Williams is in play. Caleb Williams, that's money in the AFC West. I want to see it now. That's money. Caleb in Mahomes 2 times a year?
Does anybody remember what his list of teams he was actually willing to go to? Where I'm not sure.
Oh,
I think he just didn't want to go to the Cardinals.
Well, that was one of them, but Caleb was
Russell
like, I
Wilson?
will only. No, Caleb Williams was like, I'm only going to
I
come
hate
out
when
of
they
the
do
draft
that.
for one of these 5 teams.
You're
I
capping.
hate
It
when
was
they
like
do that. I hate when they do that.
Vikings, Giants,
You're capping.
and like some
I
other
don't.
ones.
I hate when they do that. You will go
I'm not to
anywhere
be
that
funny,
offers
but
you a contract.
not to be funny, but like
Don't
winning
choose.
college basketball players, it makes sense for them just because like players like Angel Reese, they are making more money than what they will make in the WNBA, opposed to Caleb. You're going to get more endorsement deals when you go to the NFL. You're going to make
according to like whatever, their NIL contracts are worth more than their rookie deals, or at least like first year of their rookie deal.
Well, this is my challenge to Caleb. Then this is my hot take. My question to you is: you challenge that. You be the one to challenge that. Then stay in college and test the probability of you getting hurt, and then you dropping into the second round or a late first round pick, and see what the difference in your money is then. And that college money is gone. So you better weigh your options. Make sure. I know you want to be in a good situation, but don't be stupid.
Yeah. I just think a guy like Shedeur needs to stay another year just because, I mean, I understand that he's playing with his father as well, too. But Caleb, you're already a first-round pick like literally the first pick of the first round. Why take that away from yourself when you have the ability to go into the draft next year? I think even if you was to get hurt and you was prepared by the time it comes for next season, they will still take that risk on you. Now, doing it next season, not knowing when that injury comes, bro, you're setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. And it just wouldn't be a smart look. Like, you need to go ahead and get it now. Go ahead and take advantage of it. I mean, come on, bro. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I understand the NIL deals. I understand it's possible you can get more money than that rookie deal, but do you see these contracts, what these quarterbacks are getting right now that's coming out of college who having just, successful tenures or having great stats because it's important to have, a top 10 quarterback in the league. I mean, damn. Daniel Jones, 40 mil. He don't even deserve it. Boy, if you don't get your ass over here and shut up.
Yeah.
This is for adults as well, too. Explicit content. Your kids shouldn't be watching. Sorry about that. But I'm for real.
Yeah.
Like this, I just hate hearing that. Like, at the end of the day, we know you love the game of football. You want to put yourself in the best position, but when you're the best player that's coming out, of course you're going to go to one of the worst organizations, and it don't even have to be them as an organization is bad. Their roster setup is bad. They need to get guys like you to make them a lot better to compete. Why you're not going to go to a team that has a good record, bro? Like, you're not. You're not.
Yeah.
You're going to go to a team that needs a quarterback.
There are no more good mentor situations like the Bryce Love situation or like the Alex Smith situation in the league. If you're going to one of those teams, Jersey gets a start now team. All those older guys are kind of just gone about their way. Aaron Rodgers is taking 1-year deals. Brady is out of the league. That type of stuff is over with. It's guys like Andy Dalton that are still there, but he's definitely a backup. So Tyrod Taylor as well, but Tyrod Taylor is still definitely a backup. So it's those situations are gone. Those are done. No more mentor situations. Just start now in every situation, and that's going to be a bad situation for any quarterback. So cut your losses, and you better just hope for the best. That's all you can do.
Like, you can go, like a guy like Tannehill. Bro, he said straight out he's not trying to help Malik Willis or Will Levis, or however he says his last
Will
name.
Levis. Yeah.
Willis.
Will Levis. He's trying to still compete in the league. He's still trying to be a starting quarterback. And the other guys you think you're gonna go to, they got 8-9 more years if they stay healthy. So take it now. Be smart about it. Reevaluate everything. Talk it over with your family. Nobody's saying that. Still have that conversation with your family. Do what's best for you. But
True. Well, we'll reassess this conversation in a month and a half and see who's in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes and see who's enticing, because it's strange to see that like the teams at the top of the draft right now are teams who are like, we have a young quarterback and we think we're okay with it. I mean, the Cardinals chose Rosen, and then a year later were really bad and picked Kyler Murray. And now it seems like they might want to pick somebody else after this year too. So I'm not sure why some of these teams like the Panthers and the Bears are like so convinced they have who they got. I mean, if you're not winning games you don't know who you got. They ain't it. I get it might be too soon, but if you literally don't win a game or you win one game throughout the whole season, this is a quarterback-driven league. It doesn't matter if they don't got a good wide receiver to pair or the best defense to. Nobody does. This is the NFL, but everybody in the NFL is damn good, and everybody in the NFL can play at an NFL level and win games if they commit themselves to it, do the preparation, and work their tails off and put in more effort than the other person on the other side. So
Yeah.
I think why those teams aren't still thinking, man, do we still need a quarterback? And if that's who's here, then we're going to resell tickets again. We might be just as bad, but this is clearly the most transcendental player of the draft. We got to take him. So
Yeah, and I feel like they damage these quarterbacks when they let them play at these young ages too. And I'm gonna just give a hot take real quick. Letting them come in and beating them up like this at a young age. I mean, not putting them in good situations. You just damage the quarterback, and it's damaged goods now. And I'm gonna move on from it and put another guy into the situation and try and build around him. So I feel like that's what we get a lot. And that's not cool. I feel like it's the Alex Smith theory, like he said. I feel like every quarterback should be brought in, like Patrick was brought in. And if you really want to see the long-term success of an organization, you go back to the Green Bay Packers and what they've done.
Sure,
and why they had years of success.
If they got it,
but we've seen.
But look, listen. I know if they got it. We know if they got it, but I'm just saying, in general, we put the weight of the world on a 23-year-old or 21-year-old. You're damaging that 23 or 21-year-old. Everybody doesn't come out like Joe Burrow that just playing a 5-year senior that had nothing to do but go study football.
Joe Burrow did. Deshaun Watson did. Tua did.
Yeah, and you see where they are. They're all
DJ Stroud right now is.
They're damaged goods too. Deshaun Watson is
Joe Burrow damaged goods and been to a Super Bowl.
Justin Herbert did.
Well, I'm not
Justin
saying
Herbert
I'm not going to
played
say
his
Joe
second game the
Burrow,
whole season
but I'm saying
balled out.
Deshaun Watson is damaged goods now. Like,
Well, that's because of his situation in Houston.
And then we were just talking about offloading Tua a year ago because he couldn't stay healthy. Well, is this a guy that can even make it in the league because he can't even stand up right?
My point is, you could be talented enough to flash in the NFL early as a quarterback. We've seen it.
And I feel like Bryce Young flashed today
for Justin Herbert to be like on par.
And CJ Stroud flashed this year as well.
No.
They all flashed.
No. I'm gonna take a step further and say this. So I get what you're saying in the point of like if they have a quarterback and they was drafted like the Kansas City Chiefs did, right? We were able to be lucky and draft.
Perfect scenario. Let them sit.
Huh?
Perfect scenario. Let them sit. Yes, agreed. Yeah. But
you can't do that to a CJ Stroud who went into Houston and Davis Mills is your best quarterback who's on the roster right now and he's not even a veteran. What he's going to teach CJ Stroud?
You can't do that Bryce Young having all your first round picks given for this one guy. If you give all these picks for one guy, he's got to be like perform.
But you're expecting this guy to come in out of college and win you how many games? Is my question to you guys. Come on, and you expect him to come in and make you a playoff team?
Win. How many did go down? How many did Derek Carr win eventually?
And that's why I said I feel like the league is just caught up. It's not the same. You got guys like Mahomes, they're dropping 8 covering guys. They're doing a whole bunch of weird stuff that you've never seen before. And these guys are playing faster than you ever seen in your life. And you expecting this guy to win you how many games? You expect these teams to win, to not be picking in the top 5 every year? Is what you're telling me? You expect?
But who's gonna train them though? All they're gonna do is train them how to be losers. Then
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the organization is gonna forever suck until you put something around the guy. You have to build around them until you get somebody in there that wants to work with the guy, and it's not like, oh, the GM. This is a new GM, but it's not the same.
Because look, draft 2 after Trevor Lawrence to say
we're talking about the Cardinals.
He was draft pick number 1 overall. He was good in college. He is good to play. They sucked a year after that. Did they need to build a team after him? Yes, but look what happened. They let him work. They let him be the starter. They are well ahead. They are more ahead right now than they would have been. Urban Meyer, despite that.
Exactly. And they put a good system around him. The rest of these guys have systems that are shit around them. None of these systems are good. Matt Eberflus in Chicago, obviously that is horrible. Frank Reich is a good coach, so obviously that may be a good system. We've seen this system pay off before. It may not be working now, but we know that system is effective and it works. This guy was great with the quarterbacks that he worked with before. So I feel like I just feel like we expect too much from these young guys when they come in. None of these guys have ever even, I don't even know, probably one of them won a playoff game.
If you going off that, bro, nobody about to judge them off the first year after going to a garbage organization and think they gonna win the Super Bowl. No, that's definitely not happening.
Well,
I will say the media is attacking Bryce Young a little bit too much and saying like, oh, CJ Stroud, who should have been this. Well, he had a better system coming in with DeMeco Ryans, who came from the 49ers, who came from a winning culture, brought that culture over to Houston. He's able to work around that. Now they're 3-3, but sitting at 500. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes for them. But I think where we're coming from on this point is, bro, like, honestly, you can expect that now in the league because they're not going to have those guys that can help them go up. Like, yeah, you can build a good system around them, but what players do you have on that roster as well that's going to make it work as well, too? Because you got to think about it. A lot of these guys who are veterans and stuff as well, too, they're going to go to organizations that already has a winning culture, and they're going to try to add on to that. They don't want to go to a rebuild type of process, a type of system, and then, hey, they got to start over and make sure this young guy's coming up. And then with the quarterbacks right now, we already talked about it earlier. A lot of these guys, the oldest quarterback right now out of the younger quarterbacks, I think, is Mahomes in year 7. So you got guys who's in the middle of their prime. They're not going to be working somebody up for 8 years. That person, they basically not going to have a career then. They're not going to be a starting quarterback. Like, what are we doing?
Playing in their 50s, and they're going to be like, you have to be Tom Brady level to start
Tom Brady.
Because Tom Brady's on the field all the time.
Because you said
yeah, but I just feel like they don't set them up for success either way. When you put guys in that type of situation,
you gotta be losing, bro.
You gotta be a loser, and that's just not you.
Yeah,
that's what my boy
Caleb Williams. Lonnie, I agree with
Caleb Williams wants to be successful, and that's why he's saying that. But like the league is just not set up for you to do that, young man.
Yes, so the perfect scenario is to have the mentor to sit for a year, play a garbage game, the Patrick Mahomes approach. Yes, correct. But that all started with a great head coach and then having a foundational team. So the question is, how many teams in the NFL do you think have a above good to elite level head coaches? And that's where you're like, you can take a quarterback and just go with it. The Peyton Manning approach, just sit him there. You know the first year's probably going to suck, but he's going to learn more by standing on the field and watching film room, being an NFL starting quarterback as soon as possible. So, and if you are good enough and you are as talented enough, you could flash early in your first year in the NFL. It doesn't mean your stats have to be great. Doesn't mean you're winning the championship game and not losing a single game or anything like that. But you are clearly making the team that just picked first overall so much better. They're already twice as many wins, 4 times, 6, like on par as a normal NFL team that you could say week to week, who are they playing? Do they have a shot? That's my opinion. So Dale, I know you really want to talk about this Frank Clark, and I say we can talk about it, but it's not officially official.
Yeah, it's not
that he's
officially
a Wiz.
official.
But it seems like he's going to be released, and it seems like all the talk is that he's for sure coming here.
Yeah, he's released.
That part is officially official. He's released. Adam, they already put it out there. He hit the thing now. That's why they are interested. So we're good on that part. I think they already restructured his contract where he gave money back and released him. So they cool with that. I don't think they felt like they was going to get a trade with him. Wasn't really getting as many calls. So I think they just went ahead and did it. But I'm actually excited. Like, I just love Frank Clark, bro. Like, I know I talked about it before with like Lonnie as well too. Definitely had some mediocre seasons with us, but postseason he wasn't mediocre at all. And I think what we got going right now is going to be a perfect fit for him because we need somebody to come back in here. I don't think nobody talking stuff to the offense like that or holding them accountable well too. I think he's gonna come in the building and be like, "Hey, y'all thought I was gone? Offense, y'all looking horrible."
So does he come in as a veteran backup? I'll cite like an Austin Ryder. He's like forever been on this team. He was a starter at some point, but then has basically just ridden the practice squad, getting checks in that regard.
No, he's going to be on the active roster, bro.
He's an active roster, and he's rotating.
Why, though? Why would you play Frank Clark during the regular season?
But you probably wouldn't play him. He might not play. I feel like he might sit out like he was just doing in Denver, and it's okay. It's okay, and that's why I feel like they're still negotiating. I feel like they're still negotiating.
I don't even think that, bro. Like, you still got Mike Dana, who's playing at a high level, and then you got George K as well too. And the thing about it is the Chiefs defense, they like to rotate guys. You don't see Chris Jones out there every play as well. So him coming in is not really going to mess up the flow. Now I know we're going to get a mini who back as well too,
right?
But exactly. I think it's just going to be situational for him, where you got him on, probably third down rushing, where you got all your elite pass rushers out there in that case, or when you need some big moments as well too. But the thing is, that's going to help him as well. The reason why we was playing him because he had that big contract with us, right? When he come back, he's not going to have that big contract, so we don't care about you coming off the bench. But at the same time, you're still going to be a rotational guy. That's what it is for the defense as well. So he's not going to throw anything off.
Okay, but the Chiefs did the same thing with Justin Houston, and they still paid him after not being on the team anymore and never brought him back because it was a bad decision, and they clearly didn't do the right money move.
Well, Justin Houston wasn't Brett Veach's guy. He wasn't. Frank Clark was his guy.
But the Chiefs are already paying Frank Clark to not be on their team.
He went out and traded for Frank Clark and said, here is 5 years, $105 million deal.
So we're about to pay Frank Clark to be on the team and not be on the team simultaneously at the same time.
Yeah,
because that's what we do. We have dead money, and then we're going to pay him again with a salary.
Because where else is he going to go? Who else?
Where he's?
I don't see any fit for him, but I feel like he definitely could be a rotational guy here. If we're going to talk about picking up,
hot take. If we're going to talk about picking Frank up, Clark hasn't looked well in the regular season to produce his stats, maybe he can't make an NFL team. If he can't make starts and play snaps on one of the arguably worst defense in the NFL, and we think he
was sick every
better.
Time. He wasn't. First of all, let me stop that right there because I'm not even gonna go with the Frank Clark slander. I'm not even gonna go with that. You already know.
When was he not hurt or sick here? This is the problem.
The whole time he been hurt and sick the whole time. The same thing he has done in Kansas City as well too. I'm not gonna go for a guy who's 3.5 sacks away from being an all-time leader.
Dale, I'm on your side, bro. I'm on your side. I want him here. My point is, I don't want him taking a snap. I don't want him taking a snap in the regular season. I want George Karlaftis and Felix to have every single defensive end snap. I want them to have experience. I want Frank Clark in the playoffs. I don't need Frank Clark taking any snaps.
So we're just going to sign him for the playoffs.
Yes.
So we're just going to sign. Yes. So we're going to wait till week 15 to sign him for the playoffs.
Doing for years already.
And we have been doing, but I said if we're gonna sit around, and I just want to say if we're gonna sit around and talk about bringing Carlos Dunlap back, we are not gonna overlook the Frank Clark at all.
Facts, bro. Like
At all. Because
for real.
because now that Frank Clark has been released, he takes priority over a guy that is old as Carlos Dunlap. He's definitely more priority over a guy like that.
No,
for sure.
But on a for real note as well, too, because like I get very hyped about Frank Clark, so clean, don't worry, that wasn't even nothing personal. I do this to everybody. But it's just if you get him now, we saw what he was able to do with George K. Why not have him do that early with Felix as well right now? Get him some work. Have those after practice reps getting him involved. I don't think Frank care about letting those young bulls go out there. He okay. If Spags send him out there, he'll go out there. I mean, my thing is like you sign him at the end of the season, you still how much money you gonna give him? I mean, he's still gonna be like 600,000, 800K. So it don't even matter. I mean, you might as well have him out there for prep just in case.
Is it worth it for you to have him on this team, even if he's walking on the sidelines with a sweatsuit telling George Karlaftis what to do? Or does Frank Clark need to be in uniform, ready to play every single game in your mind to be a needed or relevant member on this team?
My question to you is he needed now?
No, that's my point. I'm not saying we need Frank Clark at all.
If he's not needed now,
we don't need to do it later.
He would just be a sprinkle on top. I feel like he would just be the garnish.
So see if he's still unsigned in December, especially if they
just like Terrell Suggs, just like Carlos Dunlap, just like the rest of those midseason acquisitions, he will be that other guy to that room that kind of puts them over the top. Absolutely,
it just happened early. Like I understand what you said because with the Terrell Suggs situation, he did come towards the end of the season because I think they ended up releasing him. He was there for the last part of it, but with the Frank Clark situation, it just happened earlier. So I mean, if you're gonna do it, you might as well get it done now. If you want him to come back, it's okay. He's gonna probably be out for a couple of weeks with the illness already, so you're still gonna get him towards the end of the season either way it goes. Like, I mean. Do it later or do it now to where it's not really that much big of a deal. What is he going to do?
The less game checks you're paying him. That's my point. Especially if there's some slight that. Remember, they tried to work this out. The front office tried to say, "Yo, Frank, hey Frank, we really love you. We want to keep you. We hate your number, but we want to keep you." And Frank Clark was like, "No thanks. That money's tied up. You're not getting rid of it." And they're like, "All right, bye, Frank. See you later." So. That situation has not changed. That money has not just withered away. That's not like forgotten. If Frank Clark wanted to stay on this team, he had a contract. He had a number. The Chiefs wanted that number changed, and he said no.
Well, if they're going to offer you more money, you're going to go to the place that offer you more money. But
that's not even like offer a new contract. I'm saying the Chiefs had him under contract and said this.
I'll just like come back and play for you the rest of your dead money that we already gave you. Like, are you on that? Like, that's what I'm asking.
The $25 million that kept getting pushed further and further back. That's like, all right, Frank, I know you want this $25 million. We're not going to give it to you, but you still want to be on the team. Nah. I still want that $25 million, even though I've played not 50% of the snaps.
Well, you know, he ain't working no more.
Of the snaps like a Chris Jones has.
Well, if that happens, I guess he ain't gonna come back because you ain't worth it no more. Like, it's over with. Like, that's why I'm coming back to it, because I feel what y'all saying. It's like if we do it later on, like, and we like what we seeing from the defense and ends already. Well, you might as well not come back, brother. You might as well just stay away. I'm just for real. I would love for you to break those postseason sack records with us.
Okay, so you're just passionate about Frank Clark, but Cole Hardman is getting talked in the same exact circle. He's not doing diddly crap for the Jets, but everyone thinks you put him back on this team, he's going to be this star wide receiver again. But we had him 4 years straight.
He wasn't.
Saw his production. He didn't come back. Why every person who was possibly on a Super Bowl roster has to be back, because it just feels so good. I'm sorry. We have the analytics. We have the data about how they did and what they were worth, especially in the mind of Brett Veach. And they weren't valuable members of this team, so they weren't retained.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think with them wanting McCole Hardman back, I think it alleviates the issues that fans have with the wide receivers that we have right now. They probably feel like, oh, Mahomes has this chemistry with McCole and all these good things. I mean, I don't care about bringing him back at all, but I wouldn't oppose to it just because I feel like the jet sweeps are not looking good with Tony and Sky Moore. That's one thing I will give to McCole. You give it to him, he can break one loose. He can open up the offense a little bit. But after that, what are you going to do in the passing game? We didn't see him not have that great connection that people thought he had with Mahomes. They put that chemistry. It seemed like they were always off when going downfield. But, I mean, I think it makes them feel better. That's all. I don't know what it does. I just think it makes them feel better. I don't care.
This is the one side that I could see because it's the one position on this team that has the question marks and the familiar of McCole. Mm-hmm. But y'all are passionate about Frank Clark, and arguably the defensive line is better than we thought it was. And I like the upside of what we have, and I want to see these
what
guys.
What the 49ers just do with Randy Gregory? Did they need a DN at all?
No.
Okay.
But they know that makes their defense, that takes them from good to elite. When you when you can line up 4 guys that can rush the passer, you get pressure with 4. So that's the point to you, Clinton. I feel like that's what puts the Chiefs defense over the top. A guy like that where you can put down, you can rotate and rush 4 in a clean sweep rotation across the board, whether it be Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Felix, George Karlaftis, Mike Dana, was it Hankins? I'm sorry. I'm not sure. Malik Herring. I'm sorry. Malik Herring, whoever it may be that gets in there, not Colin Saunders, Derek Nottie, you can go across the board and rotate that NASCAR package pretty fluently. And that's why I feel like the 49ers do what they do. They want to rotate those guys, and they see that you can have a lot of success if you can have 4 guys that can put their hand in the ground.
I'm glad you said it makes them from good to elite. First of all, they were already elite. This is Randy Gregory stats for the last couple years. 1 sack in 2021 with the Cowboys, 0 sacks in 2022. No, 6 sacks in 2021 with the Cowboys, 2 sacks in 2022 with the Broncos, 1 sack in 2023 with the Broncos, 1 sack with the 49ers right now. That's going from good to elite.
Yeah. I'm just saying that from good to elite as far as their pass rush.
2 sacks last season is elite.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying as far as adding the depth to their pass rush. I'm talking about the 49ers.
No, that's why we want Frank Clark.
I'm not saying that he's an elite player. Not by far. He wouldn't be traded. He would have still been on the Broncos if he was an elite player. Hell no, he's sorry. He sucks, obviously. But I'm saying that's what puts their pass rush over their top. Absolutely. When they put Nick Bosa out there, Hargraves out there, and now they put Randy Gregory on the other side and Armstead in the middle, you're looking at that pass rush a little bit differently from when it was just whoever it was over there on that other side. Now it's Randy Gregory. You're checking and looking. So I'm saying that's what separates the pass rushes. When you get into the postseason and get later into the season, who are we lining up? I'm not fearing Malik Herring. Okay, you put Frank Clark out there, the guy that's trying to go for 3 sacks and win and obtain a playoff achievement. I'm sorry. It's different. It adds a little bit more element to the story is what I'm trying to say. You gotta see the situation, understand the look that you're trying to get. You got to get after guys like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow late in the season. You need to be able to rush 4 and get home. You can't always have to send a linebacker. So you got to have guys that kind of know your system, is able to get after it, and ready to go. Come in with elite and come in and provide elite pressure and play fast. And I feel like that's why they do the things they do. That's why the 49ers went out and did that. And that's why the Chiefs will do what they need to do. As far as adding a pass rusher or anything like that, you got to do that. That's what puts that defense over the top every time. You see it with Hassan Reddick and those guys down there with Philadelphia. Like, it's ridiculous. Come on.
And Clint, I'll let you go before I get my last little piece on it.
I'm just saying that, like, people were so convinced early at the season that the Chiefs need to trade for a star wide receiver, and they need to sign depth veteran edge and defensive depth, basically.
Mhm.
And people are still arguing that first point, but these were also the same people who said, well, we can't get rid of any of our wide receivers because they're all about to be 1,000-yard wide receivers. They're about to be just all godly. Every single one of them. They're all going to get 50 targets and just ball out. Every single one of them. And now it's gotten to the point where people are like, I don't think either one of these. I don't like any of them. So let's throw them all away. Let's just completely burn the room and get brand new ones. And people have also shifted and said, man, that D line, I like what I see. They get pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They normally don't have to go to the extreme. They don't have to overly blitz, but we know Spags likes to anyway. So, like, if it's just them versus any team, you can have some faith that, like, all right, one of these times they're going to get them. One of these times Chris Jones is going to get the sack, or he's going to take up so much of one side of the pocket that the rest of it collapses and somebody else gets him, or a batted ball that Justin Reed picks off, or Nick Bolton picks off, or a cross the field throw that Mike Edwards picks off. Like, that's kind of my thought, and I like the way the defense is going. You could argue that they've made leaps and bounds this year. They are a better defense than last year statistically. I'm saying, that's because Frank Clark's not playing. No, I'm not saying that.
No.
But I'm saying clearly this is a configuration that is bringing success. This is a configuration that Spags feels confident in. Andy loves Frank. Steve loves Frank. And I want him here for the stretch run. If he being on the team, it means that some other offensive weapon that we have that isn't, balling out, but we all still have some sort of, some sort of attachment to that we think that they can make a play or whatever when the time comes, then I don't want to do that, especially at this point in the season when everything is so unsure offensive wise. So if that big offensive acquisition isn't there for us, then sure, make some steady progress with the defense, but we know that it's not for once in the Mahomes era, the defense is not the weakest portion of the team. So if you're going to make a part of the team better, it needs to be the team that's arguably weaker. And none of us can argue that that's been the offense so far. So I don't know how, but I feel like they need to do something to spark that offensive production. And we've already mentioned the Chiefs have a defensive end coming back for the team, and his name's Charles Omenihu. He's coming back. He's fresh. He's ready to go. So he is Frank, arguably, in my opinion.
No, I don't fully disagree with what you were saying at all. My final thoughts on this: what wide receivers right now that we can trade for, even go after in free agency that we feel that make this offense even better. So I think that's something they're going to take into account. So we'll see how that goes. I just had to look up on the web right now for guys I know that haven't signed anywhere.
If Chiefs Twitter gets their way, Kyle Pitts is going to be a Chief by the end of trade deadline. Kyle Pitts is going to be a Kansas City Chief by the end of this month. If Chiefs Kingdom can manifest their way through this, they're going to get him somehow.
I like that. That shores up the tight end room, and I mean that gives us another weapon. That's why I'm kind of disappointed with Jody not being healthy this season, because this was his opportunity, especially in that first game when we was missing Travis Kelce. He could have made a name for himself. Maybe he would have been out a couple more games to just ensure his health if he was
I'm ready
balling
for
out,
this
right?
that like New England tight end defense. I'm ready for that because 20 years later, it's still like impossible to defend with having like you have to have the perfect kind of linebackers and safeties to defend that constantly. And then you still can run the ball. So when you have those tight ends and they can block too, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to beat. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, like we'll see what happens. Definitely got 2 more weeks into it, so we'll see if we can figure anything out. Maybe the offense surprise us against this defense that we're going to be playing against on Sunday. It's not like the Chargers defenses are any slouches. They have Derwin James, they have Asante Samuel Jr. They got some great pass rushers with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. So it's not like right here we can prove what we can do offensively and see if we can put up some points to maybe assure us some confidence going forward later on in the season where we're not tripping. Defensively, I think we find either way it goes. I just love Frank Clark. Everybody just knows that. Every time you see him get a sack, I'm yelling Frank. So that's just something that was normal with me. I definitely want to see. I just love his personality. I just love what he brings to the defense, and I love what he brings to the team in general. So that's why I'm excited to possibly get him back. Just bring that swagger back as well too. Just bring that aggression. Bring that guy who's just ready to talk stuff. He's ready for the moment. But we know that we dealt with him missing a lot of games. And I definitely understand why y'all will want him in the later part of the season to where we get ready for postseason, to where it's like, hey, bro, we know we're going to have you down the stretch for this. You're not going to miss any games on this one. You're going to be here for that. So we'll definitely see what happens. But honestly, for the Kansas City Chiefs, still going to be a playoff team. I think we're still going to host the AFC Championship when it comes to the end of the season. I think the offense, they eventually figure it out. And McCole is released. Maybe we add him back as well too if we add Frank as well, just because of what we know what we'll be getting from him. So my point to that is, yeah, y'all see the grass ain't greener on the other side when you leave the Kansas City Chiefs. We want y'all. We didn't need y'all, but we want y'all. Well, y'all went somewhere else.
It is greener because some other team will pay you more green. Now, it's not as gold on the other side of the fit.
Okay, that's a good one.
But the green flows a lot more than it does here in the Midwest side.
Yeah.
All right, Lonnie, any final thoughts?
Hopefully we can get a reunion with somebody. I don't know who it's going to be. Hopefully we get a good reunion here, but we know Veach is not in a company of spending money, so it's not going to be a break in the bank type deal. But hopefully we get a reunion and it sends us into a good time.
Quick note: would getting one of them, either getting Frank or McCole, prohibit the other, or do you feel like
no
at this point both of them? So if you see like McCole's coming, you're like, shoot, there went Frank Clark. You're saying, so you're thinking Frank Clark is a for sure, and McCole is like a if the team feels like it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're dabbling with both, though.
Right. Yeah, I bet at that point it's more like, hey, McCole, how healthy are you?
Yeah.
Because Richie James just had a meniscus. He's going to come back, I think. And they may not even be talking to McCole. So.
Exactly. But see, right there, it's like we got so many guys that play like McCole,
right?
To fill that void. Some of them haven't been as great. And I think that's why they be like.
And it's the Rashee Rice body type of wide receiver that's showing immediate production in this offense and is becoming the wide receiver one in everybody's eyes when the wide receiver ones talked about in the preseason have I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm just going to spitball less than 20 catches and 150 yards between the three of them. So if I was wrong with that and I didn't give anybody their props, my bad, but that's not a Travis Kelce. That's a Travis Kelce in a game or a game and a half.
Yeah,
So-
Rashee Rice stats right now, I think he's like over 20 receptions and around like 255 yards. So
Yeah.
he's getting the most production out of the receiving group right now, and he's actually fulfilling that Juju role that we were expecting. So
I wonder how much of it is his ability and that confidence and that trust that Mahomes had, because he was like, this is the wide receiver I want out of a rookie. So it's like Mahomes handpicked him. So like he's trying to make him good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Mahomes handpicked Scott too, though, and he handpicked Tony. These are all guys that I think Mahomes picked. So, but he has to make it work, and I feel like
Nah,
he will make it work.
let's keep it
These are
G.
definitely
Big
his
Big
guys.
Tony.
but I don't know if he ever practiced.
Well,
with
no, I
Tony
wouldn't
or
say that
practiced
because
with Sky
Mahomes
Moore,
is-
but we saw that
Mahomes
he
was-
legitimately practiced with Rashee Rice in the scouting time, and then said, "This is my favorite wide receiver," and they picked him. I don't know if they did that extent to a Sky Moore or prior to that, but we did hear coming out of the draft that Mahomes preferred Rashee Rice. They picked him, and there's already this immediate chemistry that still isn't there with Sky Moore after 2 years, still isn't here with MVS after 2 years.
If you guys think that Mahomes is not signing off on wide receivers, and
He
they
not.
just had that problem, in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and that was part of the reason that he left, is because they wouldn't draft a guy in the first round.
I don't want to. I don't want to hear.
So you want me to
Look,
blame
I don't-
Patrick Mahomes for not
I
having
want you
George Pickens
absolutely,
instead?
because if you don't think he's a
No.
$400 million man and he has no say in who he's picking as far as who he's throwing the ball to, you guys are tripping.
No, you're tripping because this is the same dude who picked Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm not
Okay,
going
so
for that
you don't
again.
think he, you don't think he signed up, you
Garbage.
don't think he signed up
Trash.
with him?
After you did that, whoever you picked, they haven't been working out, Pat. Just throw the damn football.
He
No.
picked Rashee Rice. He just said he picked Rashee Rice.
No, they worked out with him. You want to know who was in that workout as well, too? He had Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was gone. He had Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson was gone. First
He
round.
picked all of these wide receivers. I don't care what y'all say. He had to sign off on all of these
Rashee
guys.
Rice was
If you
his
don't-
last option.
If you don't think he signed off, if you don't think he signed off on any of these guys, you guys are smoking. Like, and I don't know what
All
you're
right,
smoking.
bro.
Like, if he signed off, he knew exactly who was being drafted. If you don't think Beach told him that, oh, we're going to pick Scott Moore, this guy at Western Michigan, or
Let me
these
tell
are
you
the guys
something
that we're
about
looking at. Like, come on, you know that he's telling him who he's looking at and who he's possibly picking. It's no way
Let
you
me
keeping your quarterback in the dark, y'all.
Let me
Y'all
tell
know
you something
that.
about the Kansas City Chiefs.
So
Yeah,
you saying
you
they're
got
keeping
your-
their quarterback in the
No,
dark?
no. Let me tell you something about the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, Pat, you got a little word, but at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to Andy Reid and Brett Veach. We run the team. You play your part. Yeah, they call
He
you like
signed
him.
off on that.
We'll go for him.
He signed off on that. Yes, and he said yes. You can say no. You don't have to say yes.
So he signed off on McCole
He
too.
signed off on all of those guys.
The
signed
NFL is
off
not the
on the field,
NBA. I'm
He
sorry.
signed off. He
The
signed off.
NFL is not the NBA.
He
The
signed off
NBA
on
has
all
way
of
more
them.
player power. The NFL is owner driven.
I don't
100%.
care what y'all say. He signed off on all of those guys. There's no way, because Aaron Rodgers literally. Y'all need to watch the Pat McAfee show. Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay because you know why Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay.
And what are the Jets doing right now?
No, you know why he left Green Bay? Because
Because
they
they
didn't get anybody that he wanted, and they never picked up anybody. They didn't take any suggestions from him. They blocked him out. Look, listen. You know why he went to the Jets? You about to validate my point because he had input. Obviously, they're giving their
And what are
quarterback
the Jets
input.
doing?
They don't want dysfunction. You think the Chiefs want dysfunction?
And what are the Jets doing?
They're giving them input. They let them pick. You see, they
No, what
signed
are the
Randall
Jets doing as a
Cobb.
team right now?
Yeah, they're horrible.
Ass.
But
Green
that's
Bay,
because Aaron's not
Green
playing.
Bay, when he was there, they was going to the playoffs.
That's Aaron's not
NFC
playing.
championships.
Aaron's not playing.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Aaron's
You're not
playing.
that, buddy. You're not that.
Oh my God, dude, he's picking all of these court.
Players play, coaches coach,
Any wide
GMs do
receiver-
GM things. Yeah, we're
any-
going to get your input. This is not
Any
the
wide receiver,
NBA, bro.
he signed off.
I'm going to
on.
agree with Clinton on
Wow,
that, bro. This is not the NBA.
No,
Wow.
This is
any-
not where you're manning up 1-on-1 against somebody. It's
He's-
5-on-5. This is 11-on-11.
Our two
Four
kids in the
quarters.
back
15.
seat yelling, and I'm trying to
He-
drive the car, bro. Shut up.
He's-
Chill.
Bro.
Chill.
Shit, bro, damn, bro, we can't talk this. What do you think the show for? Us just to be on here, man.
Well, that doesn't mean you get to go to a yelling fit, fam.
Oh, bro, I guess. Oh shit, we ain't gonna get no clout. No, I'm just
Hey.
playing.
Either you yell or you start getting that Nate Taylor high-pitched
just
squealy voice that nobody can hear unless you're a dog. You know,
I don't
trying
think
to
it's
protect the audio list.
it's nobody that he doesn't sign off for. It doesn't sign off on. He signed off on everybody. Anybody that came in that room so far, I don't care. That man is not making that much money and he doesn't have any input. I just don't. That doesn't make any sense to me.
And I'm saying that there's a difference between has a say and pound the table.
But even if I don't care. Even if you have a say, like I said, you have the ability to say no, right? We all have the ability to say no, right? This is not. Don't go that way. Maybe you should go pick somebody that whoever y'all were thinking about picking. Maybe not.
So we have to blame Patrick Mahomes for not having T. Higgins.
Absolutely.
Who else would we love to have instead? George Pickens. That guy, he got talked about a lot. So it's all Patrick Mahomes' fault that we have who we have instead of those guys.
I'm yes, for sure. He signed off on those guys for sure.
Every free agent that we don't get is because Patrick Mahomes didn't like him. Every wide receiver on the open market.
I feel like some of those that's on your GM. He may not sign them. But MVS was the top free agent going into that class. You can't tell me Patrick Mahomes didn't say I want him.
Are you telling me Patrick didn't like Tyreek Hill?
Oh, he probably loved him, but I don't think him and Tyreek got along.
Nah, I don't follow you in that one.
I don't think they got along at all. I think that's the narrative right there, and that's why that ended up being a bad situation. They just don't want to come out and say it. They didn't get along at all.
Well, Tyreek thought he was shitty when he came out. That's literally his words.
I mean, if they can be men about it and just say that they didn't get along, they just didn't get along. You didn't get along with your wide receiver. That happens a lot.
Lamar Chase crap talked Joe Burrow 2 weeks ago. So what does it matter? Wide receivers are like that. They always got exaggerated thoughts and opinions about people and things.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes if it gets too bad, you're not gonna outweigh him. Like I said, the $400 million man. Some people are not gonna win. You're gonna go up against some people and you're gonna lose. Everybody has to say, but I mean, some voices are bigger than others, and we all know that. And that's why I said, to think that stuff is not getting ran by him, is like that's crazy.
No, I think stuff is getting ran by him, but I just don't think he's the final decision maker. That's all.
Correct. I don't think he can veto.
Well, yeah, he's
if
not.
Andy Reid says something, I don't think Patrick Mahomes comes in and says, "Actually, Andy, I want this." Sit down, youngster. We saw it in the playoffs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes wanted to have his way. Andy Reid told him to go get your ass in the locker room, take your X-ray. He said no. Did Patrick Mahomes play until he got that X-ray? No. So who's in charge of the Chiefs? Is it Andy Reid or is it Patrick Mahomes?
You said who's in charge?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Andy. Well, Andy's obviously gonna get the last say, y'all. But I'm saying, if you don't think Pat is saying yes or no to guys, then you're crazy.
Nobody's saying that he's not saying yes or no, but he's not the final say.
But that doesn't matter if you're saying yes or no. That he's a part of the problem. You're not saying no. You're part of the problem.
Is Patrick Mahomes in the freaking draft room with Brett Veach saying, "Hey, if you really want this wide receiver, you're gonna have to trade up 10 spots. So you better." You think he's doing that?
Well, he's not doing that. But I'm saying if he's picking, if he's saying yes, he said yes to Scott Moore. So if he said yes to Scott Moore, he's not working. Pat, then who is that falling on? Maybe you need to figure out what's going on with Scott Moore, because you liked him just like I liked him, and I'm only the GM. All I can do is pick people and sign them. I can't go in there and work with them and tell them what routes to run. That's not my fucking job. Okay, your job is to go in here and figure out all the rest of the stuff and tell them you run this deep over, or you. That's not my job. My job is not to help you go down there and be your quarterback coach, Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna get the guys that you like. Do you like this guy? Yes, I like him. Do you like this guy? Yes, I like him. Who don't you like? Who didn't you like? Okay, we're not gonna go with those guys. But if we bring these guys in here and you like them, it's gonna be your responsibility to help them get in the offense, work with them. Even like you said, you like Justin Ross. Oh, I like how he attacks the ball. Okay, if you like that so much, work with them and help them figure out how to get integrated in the offense, just like your boy Travis Kelce. And you work with everybody in the offseason. So it is going to go on the quarterback. Your GM does sign people, but it's on the quarterback and everybody else to get the chemistry and work with them to get them to work. It's not. It doesn't. It doesn't. We're not going to just take the blame off of him and put it on Brett Veach and Andy Reid. Yes, they're coaches. They draw up plays, but it's your responsibility to get on the same wavelength that you have with Patrick. I mean, that you have with Travis. You need to get on that same wavelength with the rest of your wide receivers, because these are guys that you like. You've been here for 7 years now. You can't tell me that these are guys that Veach are just throwing in your lap. And you're like, oh no, I didn't want him. You picked him. You think he's saying that? No.
Who are you saying when you say that?
You think that's what Pat's saying to Veach?
I mean, Pat is a professional, so he'll never throw anybody under the bus. So I don't think he'll say that at all. But I do think Veach really, we talked about it as much, how he valued his draft picks. He valued his draft picks because he feels like he's a guy who knows how to find talent because he was a former scout. So I think he does feel like he aligns with Patrick Mahomes' beliefs and what he wants in the offense. And I think he calls and be like, hey, I'm looking at this guy right here. Go look at some of that highlight film and see how you feel about it. And I think what you're saying is like yes or no. Like, yes, I can do something with him, but I don't think he's making the sole decision of like,
but
hey,
that's so shallow.
Yeah.
That's so shallow to think that I would say that he's making a sole decision. Of course, he's not Belichick or Brady.
Well, Aaron Rodgers technically did that to the New York Jets when he got.
And that's what they're saying.
I mean,
that's what they're saying. But that Mecole,
they went out and got Randall Cobb, who should be retired by now.
Yeah.
They got Alan Lazard, who was a former wide receiver.
You think he said, "Yeah, go get Mecole"?
No, Mecole wanted to come there himself when he got released.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So, like, some stuff, it's like, okay,
they're going to bring in their own guys that they feel that can come into the offense and integrate with them. But this is a guys that Aaron Rodgers honestly handpicked.
I'm telling you, 2-time Super Bowl champion MVP, he's saying yes or no. Yes.
I just know the Chiefs organization, bro. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I just know the Chiefs organization. At the end of the day, even when Dorsey was here as well, too, he did what he wanted to do. He signed who he wanted to sign. I just feel these guys, the Chiefs organization, is like they're gonna always place the blame on themselves anyway. They're not gonna always like put it on their players or anything like that. They probably had those talks, but at the end of the day, they the ones who made the sole decision of like, okay, we're gonna sign them. That's all, and I'll leave it at that. So.
I don't know. I just say I feel like Mahomes. A lot of the onus I put on Mahomes. Like you figure it out.
We can continue the discussions about this later on. It's gonna be alone.
You figure
out
how
much onus do you put on the actual player not producing?
That's all on the player, right? It's
so how is any of it Patrick Mahomes' fault if the player who's not doing what they should be doing?
Because how are you having success with Travis Kelce? Just because he's been here for longer than me?
How is Patrick Mahomes affecting how the wide receivers run their routes? How is Patrick Mahomes doing any of these details that is what gets you open in the NFL versus being a good target practice?
The same way Brady went down there to Tampa Bay and got those guys rolling without any hiccup or hitch in their step. So the same way he went down there.
Did he not have Mike Evans? Did he not have Chris Godwin? Did he not have way better wide receivers than Patrick Mahomes has?
Well, he didn't have no chemistry with him. What we were saying right now, I would say that.
Are those not better NFL caliber players than who we have?
We can't say that. They haven't had as many snaps as those guys.
No. Mike Evans is a consistent 1,000-yard receiver. Chris Godwin, I mean, this is a guy who get hurt, who's barely in the season as well, and looks like he's having a struggling start with Baker Mayfield right now. So, I mean, like, to say Tom Brady, I mean, that's just a GOAT being a GOAT. I'm going to just be honest with that. But this is guys who didn't have chemistry when they first came in as well, and they were able to hit off the bat.
Stephon,
they won a Super Bowl as well too. Beat us 31-9. Whooped our ass.
We can't let everybody. I love them to death, but we can't let them off either. But I'll be like, everybody responsible. It's responsible for themselves when it's coming to stepping up and playing a good game. So everyone is responsible for themselves. But it is your quarterback. You have to, if you're gonna be a leader the whole time. Don't be a leader sometimes. Okay, like if you're not hitting with Travis, and you and Travis you're on another wavelength. You need to try and figure that out and get on that same wavelength with these guys. They're not doing probably anything different. Whatever your scramble drill is, you have to be willing to put in work and help other people too. So like
my point is
she lives in Dallas and he's right there over. She lives right here, so I can drive. He lives here.
My point is point the blame where blame is had. Don't try to make like tendrils of blame connect to different places. If the person isn't producing, he's to blame. If the person who's in charge of picking him chose wrong, then he's to blame. If a coach who's supposed to put him in a good position and put him in positions to make good plays or to showcase whatever it is that made them like and take a chance, is on them too.
But I feel like we got to give more time to the signings before we just say they don't work. Like, what is like? What
I mean,
don't
some
work?
of it came down to Mahomes literally not seeing it or throwing it. So maybe we all want secretly again to have a week 1 where Travis isn't there and we have to see these other receivers step up. But then maybe we'll be upset that costs us a game because we have this itch that they can't.
They just gonna need to figure it out, y'all. That's what it is
They
right
got
now.
to.
I don't
They
want
got
Travis Kelce to be gone. You just gonna have to get it together. Like I was just watching the all 22 myself. I'm sure you're doing the same thing, brother. Hey, at moments where you see them open, just throw the ball. Like I said in the beginning, throw the ball. If they drop it, they drop it. If they consistently keep on dropping it, okay, now you have a reason not to go their way. Simple as that. Hey, but if they getting open, throw it in the ball, bro. Throw it in the ball. Travis Kelce just turned 34 years old.
Not getting younger.
Neither is
Not
Andy
getting
Reid either.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
okay, well, we went super hard rant mode for a very, very, very long time. A feature film length. Thankfully, we avoided a lot of Chargers talk, which is who we play this coming week. So I know you guys will probably come out with a podcast here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Breaking down what was the Thursday night game a little bit before going more in depth with the Chargers matchup on Sunday. So we'll save more of that conversation for there. But overall, it's still a little up in the dark. We're still we have these conversations because things aren't happy sunshine and rainbows like we expected. One side of the ball is doing better than we thought. The other side is severely underperforming. It's not the size that we assumed them to be. And now we're just trying to watch these games as they transpire and like having to reroute our brain every single time. That's like, oh yeah, I have to hope this is a defensive win. And then, oh, okay, good. It was. So we'll see if end of November, closer to December, playoff time, whether the offense is firing like everybody expects it to, or if we still have more troubles after this Sunday and 2 weeks from now, Broncos before the trade deadline. I'll let you, we've talked a lot, but I'll give you each 30 seconds to just talk about the state of affairs and just how you feel about things and how going into this week.
I feel like we'll be good going forward. We'll be 6-1. We'll be fine.
Yep. All right. Pretty much the same thing. We'll be fine. We'll get it together. Right now, what we was hoping with the defense, like we wanted them to play better. They already playing at the level. Mm-hmm. Now, I think it's easier for the offense that is, ran by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They eventually, get over those mistakes, get over that hump, and then they start producing a lot more. We had a little bit of that scene in the Bears game. We just need that to come out more in these later these later games as well too. Just need them to produce. That's all. So simple as that.
Yep, I agreed. And we get to spend tomorrow night doing some live watching film study of the Chargers hosting the Cowboys. So we'll see how they are for that game and whether or not there's any correlation or maybe some letdown, or basically see how this Monday turns into a short 6-day week for the Chargers. Hopefully amounts to a productive 3 days after Thursday to get the guys back in the film room, get some guys in the training room, get them healthy, get them ready. The Chargers are always difficult, especially being a divisional opponent and since we just learned from Thursday, all division opponents are difficult, no matter what caliber of team we may think them to be or of their roster. But this will be a real test, and I'm hoping that the lights are on in Arrowhead that Sunday afternoon, and the Mahomes versus Herbert mystique. Mahomes takes that, and all the lights have been too bright for him sometimes throughout this season so far. I hope, and I am leaning on this being one of those turnaround, like, I'm going to show that I am the best quarterback in our division. So we will get you ready for that game the rest of this week. So stay tuned for all the content that we've got coming at you with Red Kingdom Media. Possibly looking at some expansion pretty soon, figuring out what all we can deliver to y'all, and making sure we give you what you want, and try to be entertaining, try to be informative, try to be engaging, talk about things that interest you. So hopefully we've done that and gave you a chance to enjoy a Sunday night, or maybe even a Monday commute or work time, trying to waste an hour and 45 minutes of your life. Hopefully you choose to do that with us. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, or whenever you're listening to this. As always, let's go Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.